going down? Welcome back to another episode. This is episode 8, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
8.
episode 8. CannaPost Daily, your cannabis podcast, all about cannabis-related things, from business, the plant, to
What's going on in states, what's going
all
on
that.
with the actual studies, things like that. So, the whole revolution that we're moving forward with cannabis.
Facts. And kind of just to segue into it, like, we're not even going to waste any time, you know what I'm saying? Go follow our sponsor, The Clear, concentrates on Instagram and Facebook as well.
Page as
And then they also have The Clear CBD also. And show them some love. Let them know that you love what we're doing over here.
Yep.
But let's just jump into this, man. I'm your host, my high floating, my co-host,
Z-Boy Wonder.
Yeah.
Coming at you.
Coming at you with that cannabis news. But so out in Hawaii, man, we got the final licensed medical cannabis dispensary received approval from the State Department of Health, and they will be opening up in West Hawaii. In West Hawaii, sorry. I was like in the West. That didn't make any sense. But in West Hawaii, with plans to begin sales in... Bro, I can't say any... Do you know how to pronounce that?
Kailua-Kona.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I have family that lives out in Maui, actually. Like, a quarter of my family lives in Maui, so...
Bro, I would love to go out there.
Dude, right?
I've never really seen the ocean for real. Like, I've seen the Pacific Ocean, but I've never touched it. I've seen it from a car off the highway when I was in San Francisco for like
we gotta
5
get this
hours.
guy some water, man.
So, so they've already started sales. When we dropped this article, it was on June 2nd. We've 4th of July, June 2nd, July 2nd. Man,
2nd,
it's been a long week.
We were not... Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Right, basically.
No, we did not go back to the future. It's all good.
But so they're already underway with sales, doing their thing. And the one thing that I didn't realize, it was a little fun fact I found out about Hawaii, is Hawaii legalized medical cannabis in 2000.
Yeah.
Bruh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
So that makes them
like
definitely one of like the
pioneers.
Third,
yeah,
like the third one, because that'd be right after Oregon, right?
Mm-hmm.
In like '96 or whatever that was.
California was the first.
Yeah.
Then Oregon, then
and
Hawaii.
Bro, that's lit.
Yeah.
Y'all know about there, Hawaii.
That's why they're always hanging loose. You get it.
So but they're doing their thing. And then Maui Grown Therapies was the first to open in August 2017. So, fun facts about Hawaii and what they've kind of got going on. If you got plans to go to Hawaii soon,
you know what I'm saying?
you could definitely, achieve you some weed out there. You know what I mean?
But they might not always have that.
Well, but I guess you gotta have a medical card, though. They don't have adult use yet.
Rec is not legal there.
Yeah, so technically...
You gotta have a homie.
Yeah, so you gotta have somebody, you gotta be visiting somebody.
You gotta have a homie.
And then keep that under wraps. The next state that's doing some things right now is North Dakota. They're attempting to legalize cannabis again. They've tried, I want to say, like 2 times now. It might only be once. But last November, 60% of voters voted against legalization of cannabis in North Dakota. But the only reason that it got voted against, I feel like, and I probably would have voted against it too, is this would have been the most laxed industry in the United States, like the world essentially. Like they had no regulations written out. It was just like, yeah, it's legal.
So
but like no plan of action.
It would have been basically like the crazy mountain, like right outside of like Humboldt County, dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's like literally
Death Mountain or whatever it's called up there, dude. Yeah. Like that would have been
wild.
Like that the whole state, dude. It would have been like Mad Max type shit. Bro.
Yeah,
the law would not have mattered anymore
at all.
It would have been guns.
There was no law essentially.
And vehicles. Like people would have built walls that were like. Beware, you might die. Like,
right.
Holy cow.
But yeah, like it essentially like
I just read that as you were saying that. Like, I was like catching up with you, and I'm just like,
bro, yeah. They literally like in that first proposal, like they wrote nothing into it. It was just like it's legal. Let's just
wild.
we want to be able to use it. Like that was essentially.
But the new proposal looks very promising.
Yeah, this one, the new one now.
It's actually well written.
It is very well written.
There's a possession limit. Like that
they
sounds
did everything.
Right.
I mean, they put in there like a tax proposal. It's a 20-page proposal, mind you. So that's a lot of thought and effort.
I like killing it.
So yeah, they basically are going to talk about in this 20-page proposal about taxes, and they detail what's going on with that. Break it down for you nice and simple. It's going to be probably around 10%. There's going to be a three-member marijuana control commission appointed by the governor. So he'll be able to kind of control who is, delegated to control what aspect of, the part of industry that they're going to be in control of. Possession limits, short and sweet. It's going to be 2 ounces, like most states are, unless you're in a state that is recreational. Most of the time, recreational limits are 1 ounce. But that was be a cool one because this is like a recreational kind of situation that they're trying to play out. So this will be one of the ones that will be a 2 ounce limit for a recreational adult use situation. Packaging requirements, marketing requirements, public smoking issues, etc. They touched on just about everything. There's still things up in the air such as expungement clauses to get small convictions off people's records or get people out of jail that had nonviolent small possession offenses, stuff like that. They're still working those details out, but for the most part they've gotten everything down that should be down as far as like getting your industry up and running and like making you money. I mean,
they only need a casual 13,000 signatures.
Yeah, bro. By 2020,
is that everybody in North Dakota?
Maybe in like.
No, I'm just kidding.
Like, bro, come on. North Dakota's pretty big.
Yeah, but
there's some small places in.
Tell me
North
I'm
Dakota.
wrong in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm
North
wrong.
Dakota has some small cities.
You don't.
Small little towns.
Big state, not a whole lot of people.
For sure.
Dude,
I mean,
this would be huge for them, and the only reason I say that is because I'm gonna go on the talking point of that's gonna be like the pay, dude, to work in the cannabis industry. There is gonna be unbelievable. Like South Dakota, North Dakota is like I hear like McDonald's, you can make about like 19-ish an hour, man.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's no one like out there really.
Yeah,
like it's
true.
they're big oiling states.
People. Yeah, and that is true.
And
they need people to be there to
like actually work.
Yeah.
So because a lot of people
think about
live there. But when you're like an oil like fracker or anything like that, like you kind of get stationed there and you work there, and then you go home for a period of time. But like while you're there, you need to cater to.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Convenience is real.
You can't just go to a ghost town. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
100%.
This will bring a lot of people, I think, to North Dakota.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna. I mean, any state that legalizes, it's gonna do only good for them.
Now, is it gonna make them
if done
the next
correctly.
Colorado or something like that?
No,
I don't know.
No.
Colorado's dope.
Yeah, sorry.
Not saying North Dakota's not dope either. Like, I
mean,
wish I could have a ranch in North Dakota. I'd have some dank cattle, some good meat, some dank weed. As soon as legalization happens,
fair enough.
Fields of weed, dude.
Fields of
weed. Like when we see a movie that makes the joke about lighting a field on fire, that's what could happen in North Dakota. You could light a field of weed on fire and see how high people
That's
got.
true, like some Pineapple Express type.
Yeah.
Or what was the one where they?
That's the one where they do it like in the greenhouse.
Yeah, in the greenhouse thing. Yeah, and they catch on fire. But what's the one?
Where it's the whole field without a paddle.
Without a paddle.
Yeah.
Bro, I haven't seen that movie in so long.
I was on lock with that one, dude. I was like, because as soon as I started saying that, I was like, what? Oh, I remember.
Without a paddle. Yep.
But my body is telling me yes.
Oh man, that's awesome. So yeah, like he was saying, they only need a measly 13,450. They should have made 13,420.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that would it should come on, North Dakota.
Who wasn't trying to slide that one?
Right, that would have just been a slick.
Easy, would have been easy.
Bro.
Some guy would have said 20 different names.
Right.
He would have changed his identity 20 times.
20 times just to be on
420.
But 13,450 signatures. They will start collecting these signatures in August, which is well above and beyond the time frame that I think they'll need to collect that many signatures before the ballot for the 2020 election. But yeah, congratulations to you guys. I really hope that North Dakota can go ahead and pull that together.
Let's go North Dakota. Let's get
make that happen.
Let's get some So up next on our little segue here is going to be Arkansas attempting for adult use in state, which is huge. That's what I'm talking about, Arkansas. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Indeed.
And I know all you Arkansanians, however we say it, y'all are killing it. I don't want to say Arkansans,
Arkansans. I used to always be like, is it Arkansas?
Yeah,
bro,
dude.
I really did. Arkansas, until I got corrected
Arkansas.
enough where I was like, oh, it's really Arkansas? Okay.
Yeah, no,
What's
we
how
just
I
spell
pronounce it?
states goofy.
Right. Okay.
English,
You know what?
baby.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Hardest
go ahead and
language
rock
to
with it.
learn.
Because we do some weird things with our letters,
Yep,
bro.
that's why it takes us 8 years to learn it.
Oh man, how to write it. And spell shit.
Still trying
I
to
still
figure
can't
that
spell.
out.
I'm still a horrible speller. That's why I have
Nah,
computers.
I can spell.
I can spell decent enough to
I
get
learned
by.
the sound out method very
True
well, and like it's very rare.
True that.
It's
That
very
you
rare
can.
that I can't sound
agree.
out a word.
I agree.
But there are times I'm like, there's like 12 hidden letters in this bitch. Like,
And you know what? I can't rely on my like phone's auto correct.
yeah,
It's wrong all the time.
yeah,
The majority of the time.
like onomatopoeia. You know what I'm saying? What?
So in Arkansas, a nonprofit, the Drug Policy Education Group, has taken steps to file not one, but two separate cannabis proposals for the 2020 ballot. Basically, they're already like doing stuff as far as marijuana. Some of you guys are probably medical patients in Arkansas already. They've been doing the medical scene for I want to say a couple years now. They've got 5 stores. And the state has already approved a total of like 16,000 plus cannabis medical cards.
Yep.
So like they're doing, like medical is established as far as they're concerned. They don't have any need to kind of really do much more to it. They kind of brought their medical on, with all the right intentions and kind of the right, I'd say, laws for their situations. Because they kind of came in later in the game, but they adopted like laws from all the other states. So now they're just trying to figure out their adult use legalization side of things. So yeah, let's kind of get into this.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you know some crazy stuff about Arkansas, which I didn't realize. They are considered one of the harshest states as far as it comes to marijuana laws.
Yeah, like possession of under 4 ounces will land you in jail for a year.
At least a year. Like, bro, I was like,
dude, in
what?
jail for a year.
Wait, what?
Of under 4 ounce.
Bruh.
Bruh. Texas.
I'm
Texas,
just
talk to
saying.
me.
I'm just saying.
Who passed a harsher law?
Most places have decriminalized though. So
Nebraska? Nebraska
or Utah.
too. Oklahoma.
Nah, Oklahoma decriminalized too.
When?
You get a ticket.
Oh, we good.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, I like
just
you
get
now.
a ticket.
Let's go.
I mean, you can't have, I think they have like, it's got to be under so much.
Okay.
But like, they've decriminalized enough to where it's like, if it's just your personal sack, yeah.
That's not
You know what I'm saying? Get a ticket.
I like
Keep it
that.
pushing. You know what I mean?
that.
I should be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and really, I shouldn't even get a ticket for it. Why you give me a ticket for real? You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Maybe weed should just be legal.
It should just be legal.
Maybe that's what we're talking about.
Maybe
that's what we're always
I'm
talking
just
about.
saying, maybe we should just.
Maybe we're just always trying to tie it back to maybe weed should just be legal.
It should just be legal, man. CannaPost
Canada.
Daily, good
What
shit.
up?
Canada's dope.
What up?
We need to
We
go
need to
to
go to
Canada.
Canada. That's what I'm
Look,
saying. Eat some poutine, smoke some weed.
I'm with it, bro. All right.
Check in on my stocks. Aurora Cannabis, what up?
So here's the new proposals. The first proposal is called the Arkansas Adult Use Cannabis Amendment, or the AAUCA.
Yep,
Yeah.
I like it.
This would give
AAUCA, baby.
Yeah, this would give the state or give authority to a state agency, which they would be the Alcohol Beverage Control Division of Arkansas, Arkansas Department of Finance and Administration. And honestly, I think that's kind of like a lame thing to do. Like,
Does that worry you to see that?
It does, like, because every state that's tried to do the combination of like the
don't work
alcohol,
together.
right. That's exactly what I'm getting at.
As a cannabis user that also likes his fair share of adult beverages, let me just say, I can say that I spin. So if they don't work inside of me, maybe they work inside of you on a regular basis.
I like to commingle them, but,
but I'm not
we've
saying,
seen though with laws and
just like
stuff
how
like
the
this,
room
there's
works,
just too much going on with the alcohol side of things for them to focus on.
Because it feels like weed's
things.
just a freaking elephant all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's just this big old
big old
white elephant,
just,
or black elephant, however you want to look at it. White or black things, but
yin yang, baby.
Yin and yang. But yeah, it's just this big old like thing that just kind of forces attention immediately, and they don't necessarily have the attention to give. So like, I feel like this is something that's gonna be kind of changed. I do think
like
this would
if
be something that would
Vegas,
change.
right, handed off instead of making an MED, essentially, like they have their own
Right.
marijuana enforcement division there. I'm sure that most states actually have gone
all-
forward with that instead
most
of
of
giving it
them
to another
do.
agency. Maybe Arkansas's agency needs some more work, and they just don't see it.
Like,
as
here's a
that.
perfect example of
And
a
that's
state.
well, so like this is the other side of the coin, right?
Mhm.
So you get more money, right? Like they get more revenue coming into their division now because
Yeah.
they're
I mean,
handling more.
I
right?
get what you're
That's,
saying.
I'm saying that's the other side of the coin.
Yeah,
So maybe
it's
they
always
did
money driven.
Maybe they did sign up for it. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe,
Instead of
but
opening their own division.
A perfect state. Man, my bad to try to cut you off.
Oh, no,
but
you're good.
That perfect state to like kind of show that doesn't work and how chaotic things can get is Washington.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're doing that's why they had so many problems in their industry now, and that they're trying to clean
up.
up.
It was kind of messed up, basically, so that weed would not prevail. Like they set it
right.
up to like
alcohol
fail
was trying
in the long
to
run.
right. So and
So
now
make
and that's
it look
that.
like it was succeeding in a short sprint,
Right.
but the long run, that sprint was going to die down because the prices are going to inflate because they were inflating taxes every year. It was brilliant.
Yeah, no, for sure.
For their industry.
For their industry.
Yeah,
and
not
that's
saying
where
it was good for weed, guys.
It wasn't, and that's why Washington had
their
to
strategy. And you can hate
literally.
it, that's fine too.
Washington literally had to like separate, and they took control
and they have their own
basically
divisions now.
away from the alcohol like people or whatever, and put it into control of like people dedicated and only assigned to the marijuana side of things, so that there wasn't that conflict of interest. Like that conflict is like what created so much chaos, not even just in the state of Washington and its neighbor Oregon,
but in a lot of places.
Lot of
like
states.
They saw one of the original legalization states fail big time,
horribly,
like market failure.
Yeah, like they're still
bad.
obviously around and doing their thing, but they are struggling right now, man.
That's just bad news. That's bad news bears.
And then with them kind of having that failure, like I said, their immediate neighbor, brother from another mother situation over in Oregon, like they ended up having issues. You know what I'm saying? Because
so basically, this
big chaotic mess up
this
there.
AAUCA is very similar to Amendment 64.
Yeah.
Like very, very similar.
Oh yeah, the way that it breaks down. Yeah, go ahead and explain it to them.
Because they're setting up rules that establish pertaining to the number of licenses awarded, just like how we were set up.
Perfect.
Limits on cannabis cultivation, just like we're set up.
Unlike some other states we were just mentioning.
Under this amendment, it's not a proposal, it's an amendment. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's not something that's on trial. It's going to just be there for a while. You got dispensaries would be permitted to sell marijuana to those of the age of 21, so adult use fairly, in December of 2020.
Facts. And
December of 2020.
It's
right around the corner, baby.
It's a perfect.
Hop on the Greyhound. Let's go to Arkansas.
Right, for sure. It's a perfect setup for a perfect situation, for a perfect storm of marijuana adult use to be very, attainable for Arkansas. Unlike the North Dakota first proposal we were talking about earlier, where it had nothing written out, nothing laid down to kind of establish what this industry was going to look like and what it was going to be and where things were going to go and blah, 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 this, that, and the third. They, again, a very thought out amendment, like he said, to make this, a very realistic thing to people in Arkansas and to people who are visiting Arkansas. Again, all this does, man, is create revenue for any state and every state to be able to, do more for their communities, their people. So I'm all for this, man. The second proposal, this one's going to be...
I meant to say a proposition.
It's not a proposition, because that they can kill that shit. That's put on trial. Judges can tell it takes, 1 or 2 or something. Had to switch that battery up real quick one time, you know what I'm saying? But so back to what we were saying though. He meant what was the word you used again? My bad.
I said proposal because I was reading it in our post, but I meant to say proposition. Because that's what it is. It's not an amendment yet where it's solidified. It has to be literally then voted on to be taken off of your state's proposals at that point. So
yeah, and so that's why them kind of making it proposing for this to be an amendment and writing it as an amendment it's more beneficial. Like he said, it's harder to take amendments away.
Right.
It's a lot harder.
It makes it solidified. So basically that's where state and federal start to have that real fine
they have to have
disagreement
at that
essentially.
Point. Yeah.
That's we agree to disagree, essentially.
Yep, they got an agreement
and
together.
They break it down into like basically layman's terms. They make it so that they can shake hands and they look the other way.
Yep.
That's just basically what's going on there.
Because
one's getting paid.
Yep.
And the other one's using that money to make their state better, which in return makes the federal tax not have to go to those things. Where it's like like the breakdown basically. So that's where we have these bailouts, things like that. That's where we have a higher federal tax. So
Yep. So yeah, man, back into
more
that.
weed.
Yeah, more weed. Back into that second proposal. This one's going to be known as the Arkansas Marijuana Expungement Amendment, or the AMEA. There we go. AMEA. AMEA.
Yeah.
The AMEA amendment. But basically, this is like they decided to write a whole separate amendment that would address the expungement situation. So, any small possession charges, paraphernalia situations, anything that was less than a pound.
Hallelujah!
We're
out!
Oh my God! There's so many people I'm about to get home.
Let's go!
There's so many people coming home.
High
There's so
fives,
many people
baby.
getting their life back.
Mama.
Because there's so many people who just don't have anywhere near a pound of marijuana when they're caught doing things. Oh, let me get you back in frame there, brother.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No, that was our fault. You know what I'm saying? Let me get him back in frame. But yeah, man, a pound?
That's
Expunge, like most of them are like, they don't even put a pound. They're just like, it's all under discrepancy of the judge. You can like appeal, and then they'll, the judge will like make that determination. They don't even give like a set amount like they do. They're like, anything under a pound, fuck it, we got you. You understand? You're good.
We got you. You out. You out. You know what?
Yeah. So if this does pass,
Leroy, you're out.
Right.
Leroy, you're out.
If this does pass, it will give anybody who has any sort of possession or paraphernalia charge of fewer than 1 pound, so 16 ounces, the ability to petition a court to release from prison or expungement of the conviction.
Yeah, that's huge.
So that, like, bro, like, I was like, that is legit. Like, the fact that every state now that's legalizing is taking more and more initiative to, like, give back to the people who, one, pioneered it. Because a lot of the people who have these earlier cases, or these bigger cases and stuff even, they're kind of like the pioneers, man. And they get kind of like excluded from the industry because they can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Because of these charges, these records that they hold, they can't get badged to legally work, even though they want to do it legally now. They want to pay their taxes. They want to, you know what I mean? And they should have that right to be able to do that. So, like, the fact that the states are kind of taking that initiative to give, people the opportunity to join this industry and be a part of it and help continue to grow it into this wonderful industry that has become is dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm really all for that, and the fact that they wrote an entirely different amendment for it shows that they're putting a lot of thought into that, because that means like there's a lot of information that soon to be released with this as they go forward with it, and we'll learn more about kind of what they're trying to do. But that was the gist and the basics of what that amendment should look like. And they will begin circulating the petitions for signatures once the proposals are filed on Wednesday, which they are filed. So if you're in Arkansas, you can probably find people walking around your cities and stuff looking for signatures. And they need a total of at least 10% of the total votes cast in the previous however you say that. How do you say that word, bruh?
Yeah, that one's like
gubernatorial election, however you say that. Yeah. So basically, they got to get 10% of that. I don't know what their numbers will look like personally, and I didn't go look it up. So if you want to go look that up and see what 10% is, go check it out. Or just go look up these petitions and find out where you can go find one to sign.
So and you can help progress.
Yeah, they'll let you know.
If you're in Arkansas.
Exactly.
Let's go.
But kind of like a good segue, man. We're going to talk about the youth thing. We'll go into that one next. I think a good segue is into the Jay-Z, because I have mentioned already some of the whole Pioneer situation and people,
I'm all about it.
Were back in the day getting
What's
caught
up,
up.
Hov?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hov. Jay-Z. But Jay-Z is now a cannabis industry leader,
Yeah.
essentially. You know, like, we know him as a hip hop legend.
Oh yeah.
We know him as
One
a
of the
business
greats.
mogul.
One is the biggest. One of the first.
First hip hop billionaire.
Yeah, first hip hop billionaire. Make
Like,
it.
legitimate one.
Like money in the bank. All
Bank,
his.
bro.
So.
But yeah, so he basically has joined. You said, and we were talking about it. You've tried the dispensary
Kaliva.
that he's joined up with and teamed
I
up
actually
with.
got their flower and like, I felt like I walked into Kylan when I was at their store.
Yeah, was it nice?
Literally the exact same.
See, you know the one thing I will say, because
I want to say my
Right?
interview. I want to say my interview right before I became a host. I literally talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did actually.
That's when you wrote that. I was like, damn, that's sick, dude. Because like, when I go to San Diego, I'm probably gonna shop at a Cleveland store again just because I liked their flower. Like
Nice.
they had.
So I'm gonna have to check it out next time in Cali.
They had a fat selection, dude.
Yeah.
Like this mango kush that smelled like straight mangoes. All these sherbets, a bunch of different like cakes from like wedding cake, birthday cake, layer cake. Yeah. I got this gelato cake. That's what I ended up picking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Simply put,
All
it
right.
was so good, dude. Super sweet, really nice high. Like hit the body, so like you could walk around the convention all day, be chilling good, feeling light, but also kept the mind going. You know, good energy, good flow. So
Sounds
yeah,
fantastic.
I was riding the bull, as Happy
Damn.
Gilmore would say.
That sounds great.
It was nice.
Oh man.
Big fan.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I could see why, because they're considered one of California's top brands, and they've got 14 licenses in California. That's a lot of licenses for anyone who knows, like, about growing companies in the marijuana industry. Knows, like, 14 licenses is a lot of licenses.
Yeah, that's not a little, especially when their state's not been
That's
legal.
right. That's a lot of licenses, bro.
They're what? They're coming up on 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's.
And they already.
How fast did Livewell have theirs? They have 14 that fast, you think? In 2 years?
They might have been close, but I don't think they had quite 14 that fast.
They're. And then like year 3 was when they were like, oh, we have 30.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely had a large leap between like 2, 3, or 4
Once
years.
Once they got to like.
They're huge. Like people. Like,
they probably have.
knows
Yeah,
who
they probably have.
Livewell
Like
is.
Livewell probably has 40 now.
Yeah, because they've got licenses in other states and stuff now
Yeah,
too.
Livewell's huge.
Yeah. So, but they've got 14 licenses. They've got over 150,000 square feet between their cultivation, manufacturing, and retail space.
11,000 pounds.
They
being
roughly
produced annually.
produce 11. Like, bro, I've worked in commercial grows that were really big.
Same.
Really big.
I ran a lab for one.
11,000 pounds a year
That's
is
a
a
lot.
lot of weed.
Oh, it is. That's not a little, dog.
Like that. That's like
That's a lot of weed.
some of the largest companies in Colorado don't produce anywhere near 11,000 pounds
It's
of
okay.
weed.
You should see
a
what
year.
Canada's doing.
Well, I mean, Canada's got some ginormous
Dude, what Canada's doing.
like warehouses out there, and they've got the space to
Like-
build like ginormous
Like what
greenhouse
Aurora
warehouses.
Cannabis is doing is insane.
It's huge. I know,
They're,
but I'm
they're
saying
annually
for
producing
a
like
state-
150,000.
But that's a country level, bro.
No,
like
I agree.
for a
Well,
state level,
that's where we actually have
for
the legal.
any
Yeah, you're right.
like one company in a state to produce that much goddamn weed, that's a lot of weed. I've seen a lot of weed.
Yeah.
I've worked for companies that have produced like anywhere from 5, 6, 7, 800 pounds. Even I think one dispensary produced close to like 3,000 pounds a year.
Yeah.
That was a shit ton of weed. Like, excuse my language, but it was a lot of weed.
11,000.
When I read 11,000, I was like, wow, it's like 4 times the amount of weed that like the largest facility I've ever worked for.
Yeah. That's
grew
produced.
in a
Yeah.
year. Like that was a lot. That's a lot of
It's
weed,
a ton,
man.
dude.
And to do that, they have over 600
actually a ton?
employees already. Yeah, it's a few tons. Because isn't it? No, not necessarily. Yeah, it is. Because a ton is what, 2,500 pounds?
Yeah, I think so. So it's under. Right, if it's 2,500 pounds.
No, this is 11,000 pounds.
Or 25, yeah, it's a few tons. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy
It's a
shit.
few tons. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. There's a few
Weed, holy
tons of
shit, yeah.
weed.
Put that in perspective.
Bruh.
See, chat? See that?
Bruh.
See that, peeps?
Yeah, and they
Holy
got
shit.
over 600 people that help run and manage.
Our Canna
and,
posters, man.
do their thing.
Y'all can't believe it, nor can I.
Right. So his new role, Jay-Z's new role, there has like I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. There wasn't any sort of like money that was divulged, whether he invested into the company, which I'm sure he did,
Right.
because he's a businessman. He's an investor, so I'm sure he did, and that money wasn't divulged as far as how much. It wasn't divulged as far as how much he's gonna get paid back, because he actually is, from what it reads, looks like he's gonna be on payroll.
Yeah.
So he actually has a title within this company. Basically, he's going to be in control of like branding and
Right.
marketing of the company and kind of how they are going to look in the face of the industry and how they look in the face of the consumer. That's basically his strong suit. As we know, he builds brands.
That's
He
big
takes
moves.
brands over and makes them better. So that's kind of what he's doing here. Not that Khalifa necessarily needed to have someone make them better. Being one of the like top leading brands
one
around.
thing that they
so
really had that was super interesting to me was that they probably had the best pre-roll like setup. Like that's
Yeah.
a big thing in California too. Is having
I mean, that's
these,
really
like,
a big thing anyway.
super
though.
elaborate like setups though.
Yeah.
Like papers that went to match the flavor. Like I don't know, they were just really.
Yeah, no,
they're
you
done
gotta
up.
you gotta put yourself. You gotta like I've always said it, man. The one thing about this industry is when you can't market yourself
Right.
on a traditional platform like TV or radio or I mean you
even
can
a
be on radios,
billboard,
but
you
it's
can't.
expensive. But
I don't.
yeah.
No, I don't think you can
No,
really like do it on radio.
no,
can
that
you?
yeah, there's certain what is it 107.5 and
Okay.
107.1.
They
They have
do
like
some
a small little like 15 second
Yeah.
spot that like probably costs an
Shout
arm and a
outs.
leg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean to
Probably
use.
cost you like $5,000.
Yeah, you know what I
At
mean.
least.
So it's
If
not
not
like
more.
efficient to do it that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless you're like one of these
Making
big
money,
mobile companies. But even then,
Like that's
that
like
only
you
does
saw
so
how we
much.
kind of got our road signs here, right? Where like
Yeah.
people pay to say like they're sponsored to
Mhm.
keeping Colorado a cleaner place, so they
Yeah.
probably pay a bunch of money
to just
not
do
just
that.
to have the sign,
but
but
to really
also
clean.
to clean.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's the thing is so one thing that
Which is pretty lit.
we're both
Actually, I'm
doing
about
on
that.
our separate platforms is we try to help market. So we kind of do similar things to what Jay-Z's
Yeah.
kind of doing, not necessarily in
We're
the
branding,
capacity
we carry our own
that he
brands.
does. Right, because we're just not at the point of where our brands just carry themselves to where we can step away from them to help someone's brand completely 100%, kind of like
Correct.
how Jay-Z can kind
We're
of
not brand
put more
moguls
time
yet.
and debt. Yeah, exactly.
what we're working for.
We're working towards it. So,
Yep.
but we do understand what he's doing. We get it. And one of the cool things that I really like is because everyone knows about what's going on. Oh, back to what that role was. Hold on, before we segue, because I was getting
you're
ahead
good.
of myself. Stoner shit. Y'all know it's good. Jay-Z's new role in Khalifa will be called the Chief Brand Strategist. And like
Yep.
I said, basically he's in control of branding and marketing and stuff like that.
Basically
Uh,
developing the company's industry-facing,
Exactly,
customer-facing
exactly.
brand. So
Yep.
he's going to be helping elevate. Essentially, he's
He's
the
Jay-Z.
dude. He's gonna be showing up in ads. And
People are gonna go buy it now just because Jay-Z's a part of it.
Yeah,
You know
I mean,
that he's already doing his job and he ain't
Willie's
even done
strains
that.
in Colorado sell just
Because
because they
of
literally have Willie's,
Willie's name on
and
it.
Willie's strains are amazing.
They actually aren't that bad for sure.
Shout out to that redheaded stranger. You know what I'm
yep.
saying?
So this is definitely a milestone for the industry in a big way, because by having someone like I said, a hip hop legend, business mogul turned cannabis industry leader, like someone like that to be stepping into the space just shows how powerful the industry has really gotten.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it shows that it's here to stay. I think people really need to understand that now and really kind of just get on board and be
Yep.
more for the change in the evolution of, society rather than trying to hinder it and push back super hard to accomplish nothing, if you ask me, because it's going to happen. It's super dope. I feel like this is one of those milestones that will like allow people to open up their minds a little bit more even and, help this industry in the right direction that it needs
Exactly.
to be going.
No 100.
So yeah, and then people like him too kind of I think it will hinder some of the takeover situations that I think all of us in the industry were kind of like fearful of when it comes to the alcohol industry, tobacco industry,
Yep.
pharmaceutical industry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we were all, I think that's something that we all fear in the back of our minds is how is this going to look in 10 years when these industries really try to establish themselves amongst this, industry that they have to kind of merge into. Otherwise, they're going to become almost irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like alcohol has seen decline. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They have like Coors and many other breweries are trying to figure out some sort of CBD beers and
Right.
THC infused beers, and they're
just
trying to do
figure
stuff.
out things that are
Right,
different. I mean, that's
right.
why also these super exotic flavors, and I mean, beer is on a whole nother level than it's ever been.
Right.
I mean,
And
it's more like a fine
they
wine
feel the
than it
pressure.
is- yeah.
They feel the pressure.
like,
you know, microbrewing is real
it's-
right
oh,
now.
hell yeah, dude.
Because they have to establish themselves again within this industry
They send
of
people home
cannabis,
with
man.
homework these days, dude.
Yeah, you have to.
Oh yeah.
You have to, because
You have to
that's
pitch
what
in.
we are doing in the Like, I remember running stores, even being just a lower end bud tender or trimmer.
Right.
I used to have to do homework to help the company.
Yeah.
They'd give us samples or whatever. Go to the shop. We're giving everyone discounts. We pennied it out for you.
Yeah, let us know.
Give us feedback. We need to know what this tastes like. How did it make you feel? Blah blah. People are always trying to set
And
themselves.
they want to make it
apart.
better, so that they
Yeah.
can. In the long run, it's about making paper. I mean, that's
Facts.
what it is when it comes to your business, and you gotta
change,
also
man.
keep morale high, so that helps with that. Keep
True
morale
that.
high.
It did.
Giving back to your team,
Mm-hmm.
and your team will give back to you. I mean,
Indeed.
that's the biggest understanding in cannabis, at least. I mean, it's what it's been since
Yep.
what, the 70s. I mean,
Yeah.
when people were having people come trim for them. So.
Yep. So yeah, man, it's a very good look for the cannabis industry seeing Jay-Z, join us and be
Let's
a part of
go.
this on not just a silent investor level, like
No,
he's
like
making noise.
His face.
Yeah,
He's
he's
gonna
making
be on
noise.
ads, dude.
And
There's
the
gonna
cool
be this
thing,
Jay-Z like black
bro,
album
there's,
like
oh
joint
yeah,
pack.
there's,
dude, you
there's
know
gonna
what I'm
be
saying?
some.
Like,
He's
the
gonna do some
blueprint.
bullshit. Yeah.
It'll be couple.
He's
Like,
gonna
let's
do
go,
something
dude.
cool.
I'm pumped.
But so
That's why I'm hoping that they'll have something dope by like September.
yeah, that would be lit. But yeah, so I think the best part of this though is what I was talking about earlier, where I was saying we should segue into this because we were talking about pioneers and people getting stuff expunged and all that. Jay-Z's a big advocate on the whole prison reform, jail reform, helping people get second chances and do all that stuff. That he's still not straying away from that. He's actually
Yeah, this is
running
more like
into
his
the
mission
yeah
of what
his
he wants
personal
from it.
mission from the industry is to go in and continue his prison reform stuff, help continue to get people's records expunged, help the pioneers
Creating
of people,
programs to enable formerly incarcerated
all sorts of
a
stuff.
way to enter the legal cannabis industry. So
Yeah.
basically trying to get people jobs, because
Bruh.
one of the hardest things that it is once you're incarcerated, getting a job.
getting a job, period,
And that puts,
let alone in the weed industry.
and like the one thing that happens to you in jail, not like I've been in there, but from people that I've talked to about it, is that you get put into their routine. So when you're back in the real world and you got to be back on your routine, having structure, super important.
Yeah, no, that's real life. I have friends that have come out of jail, even for maybe 6, 7, 8 months, and there's like definitely a adjustment period where they've got to like relearn like life again,
Yep.
and figure out like, okay, what do I need to be doing every day? Because they got so used to just like, all right, being told when to wake up, when to eat, when to go to sleep, when to go to bed, when to take a nap, like all sorts of weird things like that. So it's like he said, structure is like a key component to like just getting back into a regular lifestyle for these people, and
Right.
and the fact that he's making it his mission to not only create job opportunities for formerly incarcerated or formerly convicted people, but he's trying to give them the tools to be successful once they get the job. By providing these programs, it's going to teach, they're probably going to teach some sort of like life skills and how to cope with different situations on the job, and even just how to do the job. You know what I mean?
Job
like,
training,
there's just
overall
all sorts of
employee and
things.
workforce development. And like the biggest thing for Jay-Z that he's focusing on is that he wants to really help give people a life that have been really put down by the war on drugs.
Yeah, facts. And that's, I think it's gonna only happen the way that he wants it, because his presence is so relevant. His presence is felt already within the industry, and he's only invested. I mean, he might have invested like in other companies, but he's like the one where he's being the face of is this Khaliva one, and everyone was like super excited and amped and like geeked about this situation, because it's not just the collaboration. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I think that's what people get. They get confused that like collaborations are like moving us forward. Collaborations don't do shit. That sells products.
That sells products.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
gives you an advertiser.
Right. That's all that does.
But when you have somebody that's getting
this,
involved,
right?
where
He's
they're
involved.
also trying to push a transformation,
Yeah.
revolutionize
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
industry.
Exactly.
That's what's happening here, and we
Exactly.
hope to see more pioneers, more large named like brands essentially.
Yeah,
because that's
he's
what
definitely
that's
a
what he
brand.
is. So same with Willie Nelson, but Willie's been doing it for a really long time. Cheech, you know.
See, and like even like Snoop Dogg,
Chong.
like I really love Snoop Dogg and what he's doing, but I wish that he would be more like hands on.
Yeah.
Like how like perfect example is Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa is really hands on with his marijuana endeavors.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when he brands it, he believes in it, he tries it, you know, he preaches it. Whereas Snoop is more of just like how we were saying, he's just a collaboration.
Right.
People pay for his face to be on a product to sell the product or his name.
Yeah.
Like he has his own, you know, little thing of stuff by with Live Well, but that was a collaboration.
Yep, collab.
It's not, you know what I'm saying? That's not a Snoop Dogg product. Snoop Dogg probably doesn't even smoke that stuff or use that stuff. Like, to be completely honest with you, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I think we would all kind of be stupid or naive to think that he did.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
Snoop smokes what Snoop wants.
Right.
So that's how all stoners are.
Right.
At least
it's not some perfectly made up box that's like a sampler kit for somebody. You know what I mean?
It's not like you're smoking the same stuff as Snoop. Sorry.
Right. It's just not. That's not the case.
How it works.
So that like people just need to really understand that is a collaboration situation. You know what I mean? It's not the same as.
But
like,
I do believe that
Jay-Z's
moving
doing,
forward, more people are going to get like more involved. I mean, we've seen people start their own alcohol companies. You know, so
100%.
Where there's money to be made.
Yeah.
People are going to show up, but we don't want to just see them showing up for money. We want to see them show up for the revolution.
To help, you know what I'm saying? Like how Burner, like as much as I hear so much people give like Burner so much crap and like, you know, just shit in general.
Yeah.
But if people really take the time to sit back and see what that man has like done for the industry in a positive light, like you be blown away.
Right.
Like he's got his hand in like 15, 20 different companies.
And
they're all
really like push like the legislation in California.
Bruh,
so.
he does everything from helping with branding to laws to, you know, helping. It doesn't matter. Like Burner is one of the like dopest
pioneer.
I was gonna say one of the dopest pioneers on the planet as far as marijuana goes. In my eyes, there's definitely other ones, Willie Nelson, other people, Snoop, but no one has done exactly what Burner's done.
No.
So I'm just throwing it out there. But to leave you guys off on that one, we're gonna go ahead and give you Jay-Z's quote that he this is actually a personal quote. I pulled it right off of Khalifa's website. It's quoted from Jay-Z.
It's a good one.
But anything I do, I want to do correctly and at the highest level. With all the potential in the cannabis industry, Khalifa's expertise and ethos makes them the best partner for this endeavor. We want to create something amazing, have fun in the process, do good, and bring people along the way. Sean Jay-Z Carter. So, I mean, it's clear. You know what I'm saying? He's here for, I feel, all the right reasons, and anyone who doesn't like it, I feel like you're kind of missing the situation and the point and the milestone that we're hitting right now.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
So
something to be excited about.
It is. But enough of that stuff, you know. Now something on another positive light to, you know, go ahead and shine a little bit more on why you should try to promote for your state to legalize on not just the medical side of things, but
really, really good
the
stuff
adult side of
Yes.
things. So youth cannabis has declined in states that legalize adult use. Why? Because you take away the ability for these young kids to obtain it, to, you know what I'm saying? Like it makes it harder. So basically, here's what I was reading, man. I'm gonna go ahead and just break it down for you guys. Every 2 years, there's a test administered to high school students called the Youth Risk Behavior Survey. It's one of many federal surveys that is administered around the United States, where they survey all sorts of nonsense. But this particular one tracks teens' diet, sexual activity, exercise, alcohol, and tobacco use alongside any other drug use that particular teen might have. It's been administered since 1991, and the survey has been given to more than 4.4 million students.
I remember the survey. So
yeah, I do too. I've personally taken it a few times. But using these surveys, researchers from a few universities, it was led by the Montana State University, but there was many other universities that were involved, or at least people from other universities, such as University of Oregon, University of Colorado, and San Diego State University. But they use these surveys to basically compile all this information, and they used all the data to kind of, figure out what was going on and some timelines and whatnot. So basically what they realized, that after comparing medical states, adult use states, or legal adult use states, and the prohibition states, because there's definitely still some of y'all out there, some of y'all are still in prohibition.
Oh, yeah.
So you need to go ahead and do something about that. But they went ahead and put all three of those up next to each other and found that medical legalization had no effect on youth use, right?
Yep.
Had no effect. Obviously, prohibition has no effect on dropping it either, because you're in a prohibition and kids are going to do what they want to do.
Exactly.
As soon as they got to the adult use states, they noticed that there was about an 8% drop.
That's substantial.
In youth use, which is super dope. And it was actually, I want to say it said 8% in use, like that was like one time every 30 days or something like that. But then they saw a 9% drop in students or youth that used it on like a regular basis.
That's good.
A few times a week.
Right.
They saw like those numbers drop. So that's super dope. And basically, what I think is happening, and what I kind of explained in this in our little article here, is basically by when you go ahead and you legalize it, we've talked about it before. You take away that whole like, oh my God, I'm doing something bad feeling from people.
Yeah.
So like once you take that curiosity and that suspense and adrenaline rush from something, it's no longer fun or interesting. So right there, that's one contributing factor I think that had probably the smallest amount of change to it, but it was definitely a change. And then once you kind of have the adult use situation, even alongside with the medical, but everything's super regulated at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you just have the medical, and why I think there was no decrease with just medical, is you have to go through a whole process to get a medical card.
Well, there's also no inflation in the market, right?
For sure.
So, like,
For sure, because the taxes are lower.
One of the biggest things to also understand about it is like when you have the adult use, like there's like people aren't growing weed.
Right.
Like,
They're just going to buy it.
There's
There's not as many black market dealers,
sales,
and that's what I was getting to. Is you basically like having all these many ways to get marijuana that is super legal, and you're not gonna get in trouble.
It's
you don't got to
like
go to some
sketchy
sketchy back alley.
Alcohol, like since we
switched to legalization, and that's why
yeah.
It's the same thing, man. So we literally, by legalizing it and regulating it and making it harder to obtain, and then on top of it having the inflation issue with taxes on the rec side, it made it more expensive on the black market. So it made it less lucrative for dealers in the first place, because they're not making as much, because they're competing not just with other dealers but with dispensaries now in the state, essentially,
which is an impossible game.
It's an impossible. You're not gonna win. You know what I'm saying? You can maybe coexist for a little while, but you're not gonna win.
Right.
So
your clientele is gonna have to be kids, essentially.
Exactly.
To go buy their own.
Don't do that. And don't do that. So that once you eliminate the black market kind of situation, you don't really. The kid's not walking into a dispensary to buy weed anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't. So I think it's a super dope situation that they were able to like make those correlations to legalizing and not legalizing and only doing medical. Because I think we've all kind of said it in the industry. I know we've had conversations many a times. We've worked together for a long time. Like medical, like there used to be a hashtag that med was dead.
Yeah.
Med is dead. You know what I'm saying? And the whole reason why was because people didn't want to go out of their way to get their med cards anymore. It was becoming too much of a hassle. The states were already kind of in their phase, and the cities themselves were kind of phasing medical out, and they stopped, letting new licenses for medical places open. They stopped, renewing some places, and they were just they were more pushing for a recreational scene in the first place.
Yep.
So, it's just one of those things where just legalize adult use. I think there was a study that dropped anyway.
And medical can still be around with adult use.
Right. Well, and that's what I was going to say.
We have it in Colorado, and it works just fine.
It does.
Have a storefront, because the people that do need it as a medicine, they should get a discount.
They should. But the thing is that I think what the states were trying to do is you would still have a red card, but the recreational would just have to
give you a discount. Right?
You would just get exempt from taxes and stuff.
That's
they were
what you
trying
should
to
get.
But
I think that should they should really help you out.
No,
'Cause
for sure,
people
I
that need
agree.
it, like
I
there's
agree.
tons of conditions.
I
That,
agree, but
we
it
can go
doesn't
off of.
help this. It doesn't help when you have studies come out and say that like 80% of people who use it for adult use are using it for their own medical reasons.
Right.
You know, so it's like
Well,
people are already
also,
like
though,
just
on
like,
that, you
man,
gotta-
I'll do it anyway.
That study probably also looks at like such a broad spectrum.
It does,
That
for
it
sure.
brings in everybody that's traveling to our state.
Oh, it does.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So like when you're looking at
100%.
it from that, like it's like, how many times as a bud-tender do you remember looking at an out-of-state ID? You know, and
Yeah,
you were asked
every
the
day.
question, "Can this leave your state?" And you were like, "No, that's against the law." Which
Facts.
it's very against the law. Do not transport
Way
marijuana. That's
against
how you
the
get
law.
it. That's how you get arrested. The whole idea though is that it's a very broad survey. So when they're looking at surveys like that, I mean it's still just a survey, right? So like you got to take that with like a slight grain of salt, I feel, but it still shows like where things are at. So
Mhm.
rock and
No,
hard
for
place,
sure.
right?
Yeah, for sure. I get it. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's what's going on with that. So, good little segue into.
Last but not least,
No, actually, we got two more.
oh we do.
We
You
got
actually,
CBN.
yeah.
So we're gonna talk about CBNs, and then we'll get into some cancer and cannabis stuff. Which is super interesting. But this CBN one, I think this one is kind of like the most. We can be super brief on this one. It is a lot of good information. Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Podbeam, at CannaPost Daily, and you can kind of read more onto this. But basically, here's a study that came out about CBN that literally just proves that we are still very much in the infancy stage
Yeah.
of research as far as a lot of these cannabinoids come. CBN is the one that obviously we're going to talk about now because I just said it. So it's when me and the Z-Boy here were in the industry and doing our thing, CBN was always one of those cannabinoids that we would read about and we're, kind of all told each other that it had like a sedative effect. You'd use it for sleep, kind of like with CBDs and stuff like that. You could, it would help just aid in, some pains, but CBN would do a little bit more. It would help you with sleep. You know what I'm saying? You could put a CBN patch on and go to bed, pass out type stuff. Take CBN pills, same situation. Most companies that sell CBN products used to, not so much anymore, but they used to advertise them as like a sleep aid.
Yeah.
So, with that knowledge, you sell it the way that you think
Exactly,
you know it.
Exactly how it's packaged for the most part, and then what you've read up or what you've been told by marketing agents, things like that. Because we have people come in and talk to us about these products. We don't just like get these products and like
sure.
run away with it.
For
like,
sure.
yo, this is what I know.
And then personal experiences too are always good things. I mean, a lot of the time when you're getting sold a product, you're getting sold someone's experience that they had, not one that you're gonna have necessarily.
Correct.
But basically, we're finding out that CBN may not be any more sedative than THC or CBD or any of the other cannabinoids that we know kind of have slight, sedative qualities. They're kind of starting to think that maybe there's a little bit of entourage effect going on, and it's just kind of in your mind, in your head, a little bit of placebo effect.
Placebo.
So, which is definitely, I've always said that half of experiencing weed and enjoying weed is placebo effects.
And it does say that CBN does activate better with more of the cannabis product. Sorry to cut you off there.
No,
but that was
sure.
one thing that I was seeing and wanted to kind of like talk about in the effect that
stop stripping things away.
Yeah.
Sure.
When you leave products as a whole plant, I mean,
that's why I like flower.
That's why rosin is one of the best ways to like smoke hash is because it's a whole plant, no solvent.
Yep.
Good stuff.
100%, man. So yeah, basically just read about the things that you're using. Really kind of read up on all the latest new situations as far as it comes to the cannabinoids and stuff that you're specifically using. Because like he said, man, when you start to strip things away, you might be taking away the actual benefits that you were looking for.
Great for research, maybe not best for consumption.
Right, for sure.
That's what.
No, and that's a perfect way to put it because they've started like in this study they actually showed that the CBN, alongside we've seen this with CBD and other cannabinoids, but again now CBN it works better when you have a little bit of THC with
Right.
it. It works better when you still have the flavonoids and the
Yep.
terpenes, and you know what I'm saying? Like, everything just operates the way it's supposed. It's like if you took your body and stripped everything away to just your heart and like, yeah, I'm gonna be the best hurt person. Like, no, you're not, because you're not complete no more.
Yeah, you're not.
You know what I
putting
mean?
everything into it.
Right.
So.
Like, it takes
Or like
all
you
of
only
everything
work
you
out your
work.
arms.
Or,
legs
yeah,
are gonna
exactly.
be, not as strong.
Perfect analogy as well.
So.
So, it's just one of those things. Just do more research, man. For yourself, read, and don't be afraid to kind of re-educate yourself when new things come out and new, developments are kind of found as cannabis becomes a more researchable product. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, like I said, we're in the infancy stage of research, and things are getting debunked. And that's the reality. Things are getting debunked as we're doing research. So go look into that. Check us out at CannaPost Daily, and you can read more into that stuff if you're curious about it. But yeah, to kind of get this, podcast on its way, because I got some things to do today. I'm about to go camping. We're gonna try that again.
Nice.
Yeah, I know you got some things you need to get to.
Yep. I got some gaming to do today.
So go
Some
follow the boy
streaming.
on Twitch. But yeah, man, cannabis versus cancer. I think it's a big topic. I think we've all I know me and you have both personally dealt with
Yep.
family members with cancer and cannabis and stuff like that. And this article kind of like, it opened my eyes a little bit. I was like, man, this is a little interesting. And you can't sit there and blame yourself. But again, it goes back to what I was just saying, where you have to do your research, and maybe sometimes things are left alone untested until it is tested.
Yeah, no,
And that's real life.
I know that I was with my dad. I was using patches for the reason that I had heard about things like this,
Mhm.
and just me thinking how I think
And
as
see,
a
and that's
scientist,
why I'm glad my grandma
like-
was only like, and she liked the lotions
creams,
and creams and stuff. Yeah, and she would every so often would do edibles, but that was like far in between.
Which commonly misconceived is basically what we wrote here in the article is that most people, or even like bud tenders, have been taught from a lot of scenarios
To give
from
wrong
what we've
information.
read, is that eating the cannabis is the best thing for you.
Yeah.
And that is not the truth, because
Nah.
when you eat cannabis, your liver has to process it.
Yep.
Your liver is also processing your chemotherapy treatments.
Meds. Yeah. So
and
if you have cancer and chemo,
you don't want to be
don't
eating
do
it.
them together.
Yep. you want to at least space them out if you do like eating it by about 2 hours before and after,
Yep.
so that your liver can do what it needs to do to process all the chemotherapy. It's actually a good place to put you into liver failure by doing that, because it's over processing.
Yeah.
So
And if you have liver failure, they actually say don't eat.
yeah.
Don't eat, like, don't ingest it that way, at all.
Right.
Because basically what he's explaining, so there's an enzyme in your liver called the CYP enzyme. There's a technical term for it. I can't pronounce it. Go look it up. CYP enzyme. And basically this is the enzyme that breaks down and processes cannabis and all the cannabinoids and whatnot, and it then is released into the bloodstream. Those are the same enzymes that, like he was saying, are the ones that break down and process their chemotherapy medicine. So when you have these two different things being broken down and processed by the same enzyme, you end up having this like fluctuation of drugs in your system. So you might have too much of your chemotherapy medicine and it's not effective. You might have levels that are escalated to the point where it's deadly. You know what I'm saying? So it's not good to play with them at the same time.
Nope.
At all, actually. They've actually shown that there's doctors that are already like on this and using cannabis with their patients, and the best way to do it is
Probably
to
the
inhale.
inhaler route.
Yeah, to inhale or suppository.
Yeah,
Or
suppository.
vaginally. If you want to
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
up your rectum or put it in the the vag, go for it. That's also a okay way to do it.
As you guys can see, Jacob was the hardest person to talk about this at work when we would have these moments.
Oh, suppositories were
You just
funny,
hear him
bro.
start laughing, and then that guy would kind of just like mosey over and be like, "So yeah, you're gonna put this in your butt," and like Jacob would literally just laugh.
It's just so funny. Man.
He just
So
smiles at
funny.
you. Just holds it back.
It just cracks me up. But so yeah, but basically between
Wait till Jacob has to use the
inhalation.
repository.
Oh, and you could do the inhalers or the patches and stuff like that. Those are just ways to bypass the liver altogether. So you can still get the benefits of the cannabis and not conflict with your chemo meds and not even play the game of, trying to 2 hours before, 2 hours after,
Right.
or none of that. You can still indulge the same way you would on a regular basis, and you would never interfere with your chemo meds. And the best way to do it, actually, that they're finding out, as wasteful as smoking is, it's the most efficient way to get it into your system.
Correct.
Because you have so many. What is your capillaries or whatever?
Capillaries.
Yeah, in your lungs.
And your bronchioles.
Yeah, you have your gas exchanges and all that stuff, and boom, it's there. So within 5 minutes, you've had 100% of that exchange happen, and you've taken in as much as your body, should basically in 5 minutes through inhalation. The best way, obviously, is going to be vaporizing it. Obviously, they've shown if you're going to inhale it, vaporizing it's the best and most efficient and healthiest way, blah, 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 because you don't have any of the other, particles or, materials basically from the blunt wrap or paper or, any of the other things. So, vape. They've also found that there's a even more efficient way of getting the benefits from cannabis if you use the non-activated versions of them. So
Right.
if you're trying to get CBA, you don't want just CBD, you don't want CBD,
Right.
just straight CBD. You want it to be the CBDA version, which is the acidic version, I'm pretty sure. If it's not activated, they're acidic. Yeah. No. Yeah, they're the acid version. They're acidic, and then the activated ones are non-acidic. They've already went through their transformation. Blah blah blah. They're activated.
Right.
So, yeah, the best way is to do the acidic versions. They just basically they appear to be working better. They're more effective, basically, in giving your benefits or getting you the benefits. And they found that if you're vaporizing, just make sure that you vaporize your flower at 131 degrees or lower. You're going to get a very weak hit, but it's going to be very flavor and delicious, and but you're going to get more benefits from your cannabis that way.
Most importantly, regardless of any use of marijuana,
facts.
anytime you're using self-medication, make sure you always let your doctor, your oncologist, your neurologist, everybody you're meeting with, keep them in the loop.
Especially if you have cancer.
And if they tell you not to use it, well, that's where you as a patient can say a big F you. That's that patient doctor agreement. So they can't disclose that information, as well as they will work with you.
Remember, they practice medicine.
They're practicing. So make sure you keep them in the loop on what you're practicing on yourself too.
Yep, because you have that full capability of doing it, and like I said, as long as you bypass the liver, your cannabis will never interfere with your other drugs that you're taking, your other medicines that you have to take.
Right.
So yeah, the question too is, cannabis good when you're in chemotherapy? Yes and no, man. I mean, it can be good and it can be bad. It's all dependent on how you use it. If you take it any fashion that goes to the liver, you're gonna mess up your whole drug regimen, and you're gonna get your drug levels out of whack, and that can definitely be harmful to the body and to someone's health. But if you bypass the liver and you don't have that issue, well, you just another cannabis using citizen.
Feeling good.
So yeah, feeling great. But yeah, man, I love you guys. This podcast was a good one, man. You let us know what you thought about that. As we get more comfortable, not only with each other, we're friends, but this is a very interesting situation, So, but as we get more comfortable with the situation, and we get more ideas, kind of out into the world and into the open, and things kind of start to happen, you'll see some more from us.
If you guys got any questions,
man.
Always remember to drop them in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like to see change, what you do like as well, because that's how we can get better.
Yeah,
I mean, we're all about criticism, as long as
we need critiques.
It is good criticism.
Yeah, we need positive critiques, man. Keep your negativity to yourself. You don't like weed, we don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
We love it.
That's your opinion.
That's your
You know,
opinion.
you keep that one to yourself for all we care.
Right.
On that.
And then go ahead and, like we said earlier, go follow our sponsor, The Clear, on
friends.
Instagram, Facebook.
Check them out at any dispensaries.
Yeah,
in
all dispensaries.
Colorado, California.
Are they in
Arizona?
I mean, pretty much any major marketplace
you can
find
these
The Clear.
They're awesome.
They're around.
They make solid products from CBD to full THC,
Yep.
and they're some of the most flavorful pins I've ever tried.
They do everything from cannabis terpenes to some of them do have like food grade terps, but that's very far in between. I mean, most of those ones end up being like the CBD ones, like the THC ones usually are cannabis derived terps. And then follow my boy Z-Boy Wonder over here.
All social media platforms.
All social media.
I'm on
Twitch,
everything. That's
YouTube,
Twitter,
Twitter,
Instagram, Twitter,
all of it.
Facebook.
All of it.
Find your boy Z-Boy Wonder. Become a part of the Z-Boy Nation. You also can find my boy Mile High Floatin'.
This guy right here.
On almost all social media platforms.
Almost all.
Besides Twitter, right? That's it?
No, I'm on Twitter now too.
My boy.
But
welcome.
So we're on Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Those are the 5. Oh, Podbean. Here.
Yep, Podbean. That's us.
CannaPost Daily. You know
CannaPosters. We're out here for you. Give you that daily news
on
the stuff that gets you high.
Yeah.
And the stuff that gets you by.
Bro, I like that.
Let's
you know
go.
what I'm saying? Let's do this. Y'all always remember live live high, man. Honest, intelligent, genuine, humble. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.